And I want to make sure people know that's what exhaustion and burnout is. When you are so sick of just life, you are probably sick of yourself. You are sick of the bullshit you're putting yourself through. You are sick of the overextension of self. You are sick of the people-pleasing habits. You are sick of putting everyone else first. Why can't you put yourself first for a chance? I literally don't understand, like, why this was a thing that clicked this past week, but it was, right? So I was this past 2-3 weeks, right? I've been redefining my values, my morals, myself as a person. And when you're naturally doing that, you're probably breaking some sort of like cycle or whatever. Mine's a little generational cycle that has to do with people pleasing. Now, I just want to say this too, because I understand everyone who's probably watching this video, you probably don't know where you started getting your people pleasing tendencies. You probably got them from childhood. I got mine from my parents. You know, my mother would congratulate my behaviors when I was overextending or people pleasing, and I'd get beat if I didn't. You know, you probably have the same backstory to some degree, or, you know, you were neglected if you didn't. There's so many different reasons that people become people pleasers, right? But all of it comes from an insecurity and like an unstable foundation inside of self, and you kind of have to like rebuild up on that, right? This goes for men and women. This doesn't just apply to women. You know, if you're a man and you're in a relationship and you can't say what you don't like or what you do like, you're probably in a people pleasing energy. You should probably go back to those traumas, because more men need to go to therapy and heal. But that's just my own personal opinion. But when you have all these insecurities, you kind of just take anything, right? You accept any type of behavior. And these past few weeks of like redefining my relationships, that's something I'm not doing anymore. I'm not accepting any type of behavior. I'm personally a priority. I will always be a priority. I'm not a priority in a competing type of way. I don't have to compete with anybody. I am my own star. You literally can't outshine me even if you fucking tried. And if you did try, you probably look stupid doing it. And I'm trying to save you the embarrassment by telling you look fucking stupid doing it. You can't be better than me at anything I do, because I'm always naturally going to think I'm the best. And people who are even a little bit better than me, I don't see them as competition. I see them as, oh, my standard needs to be that. So there's no, you know, I hope and pray everyone out there never feels like you are competing with me, because you're competing alone. So when you're building up these securities and you're releasing these insecurities, competition is one way it can show up, right? You want to compete with someone with this and this and this and this and this. Truthfully, 90% of you people aren't worth to be competing with. There is just no competition. There is no comparison. There is no, it's just not worth it, right? But when you're in a people-pleasing energy, almost everyone is a competition, because everyone is like how is the best way to describe it? Everyone is, I don't want to say takes away your value, but it almost takes away your value to a degree. Like, that's the best way to describe it. And I haven't really felt this energy in a couple months, and I had a situation that like kind of opened my eyes up to it, where I was competing with someone else, like internally in my head. And then I like took a step back and I intellectualized everything, and I noticed that this person just wasn't a good person. They just had a mask that they were a good person, right? That actually they weren't the standard, so I didn't need to compete with them. So it kind of like dropped them back down, right? But then after that, I just started seeing everyone else as very leveled with me. Like, I can't outshine you, you can't outshine me, right? No need to compete. But it's almost like, if you, oh my goodness, when you're a people pleaser though, and you're insecure, which are the same thing, it really is like someone else takes away your value. Or like, you know, you were important, but you're a step down in your importance now. So you have to like overcompensate for your importance and your value, right? Which sucks, because you're constantly burnt out, you're constantly tired, you know, you're always, you know, why doesn't anyone see me? Why doesn't anyone, which by the way, we can go into that too, because if you're one of those people that are constantly complaining, why doesn't anyone see me? Why am I constantly overextending? I'm so burnt out, da, 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 da. You're doing it to yourself. No one else can burn you out. No one else can make you or force you to overextend yourself. No one else can like literally put you into a people-pleasing habit, unless they're your parents. And unless you're, you know, living with mom and dad still, which I'm not, you know, maybe you're different, you know, no one can really make you do anything. And if they are, you have a bigger issue, a bigger egg to fry. You know, I'm an egg, no yolk. You know, there's a yolk there. You need to deal with that before you come over here. So it just doesn't click over here. Something else that made me notice this though too is like, I'm so easily accepting to other people's perspective. And it's because whenever you're in a people-pleasing energy, you don't trust yourself. So you don't feel safe. So you don't know your morals or your values or your boundaries. I can say that one twice for sure. When you don't trust yourself and you don't feel safe in yourself, you literally don't know your morals and your values, right? So these past few months of my life, I've just been redefining all of that and going, no, I don't want to accept that behavior anymore. And you know, I've lost people because of this, because they're like, no, I'm going to continue to give you this behavior. No, you're not. You can go give that to everyone else, but you are not going to give that to me. And I had someone recently tell me, like, is it okay for you to tell someone, like, give people like a 3-strike rule? I have this thing called a 3-strike rule in my life. You get 3 strikes. This thing doesn't exist anymore. It used to exist. You now get 2 strikes, but used to I would give people 3 strikes, right? I'd give them 3 strikes, where it was like, you fuck up the first time, you usually don't know you fucked up, you probably treat everyone like this, so I tell you, and then you fuck up the second time, and then I give you the benefit of the doubt, and we go to the 3rd time. And I was talking to my therapist about this, and my therapist was like, do you feel like that is too strict? Because I know you are a firm believer, and change happens over time. Yes, I'm a firm believer, change happens over time. However, I know my self-worth. I know there are certain moments where it's like, people don't mean to do things. So like, I naturally speak louder. I get very defensive, mostly in arguments or like comebacks or yada, yada, yada. I'm just a naturally loud speaker and I'm a cusser, right? So if you're asking me to stop doing that, it's probably going to take me a lot longer, because this is just something I've done all day, every day for 22 years. I'm naturally a louder person. So whenever I'm quiet around people, I'm going against what I naturally do already, right? But if I'm telling you like, hey, I really don't like it whenever you eat the last bit of my food, right? And that person's like, oh, my fault, right? And then they go and eat my food again. You're just fucking stupid. Like, and there's no nice way for me to say that. You just don't respect me as a person. You don't respect yourself, because now you just lost a really good friend. When 90% of the time, if it's food, just ask me, dude, you know? And so it's like, okay, whatever, right? Bye to that situation. It's the same way for everywhere though. I used to work at Walmart, okay? And this is like 2nd, 3rd year of college. And I worked at Walmart, and I would work at Walmart full time. I'd work there 40 hours a week. And then I'd also work at the bar for 20, 25-ish hours. And I'd also go to school. Why was I doing that? Well, first of all, I had a broke ass, bitch ass boyfriend at the time who didn't fucking know how to get off his ass or stop eating crumble cookie for a fucking day and could never make it into work. And so, yeah, I started overextending myself. I started overextending myself naturally because I wanted to take care of this person, because I was taught you take care of the people you love, right? In my head, I hadn't never known that was overextending myself for a man until we got closer to the end of a relationship, because no offense, that's probably what my mom would have done. Shout out Crystal, you know? It's like, and not the meth. It's like, that was overextending myself, and I had never known. And so as I've gotten older, you know, and this is like 2.5, 3 years ago. So as I'm gotten older now, I'm starting to recognize the difference between overextension of self and just simply loving someone. What I was doing there was overextending myself, right? Overextending myself now also looks like I'm tired. I don't want to do that. And if I continue to do it, that's overextending myself. I'm tired. I don't want to do it. I was not really working because I wasn't getting paid for this, but I was at this event on Sunday, right? And I was taking pictures and I was taking videos and I was being so sweet and I was doing it, right? But I'm not getting paid. And so it got to a certain point, my back was hurting and I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. And I gave the camera back to my business partner, and they took pictures and videos for the rest of the night. I'm sure me doing it for a little bit probably helped them out, right? And it's something that I like to do to a degree, because I'm not really experienced with the camera as much as people probably think I am, but I have a lot of fun with it. And are you licking my hair? See, overextending myself is paying attention to my dog right now. I'm sure you guys don't want to see his balls dangling. Thank you. Overextending myself would have been like keeping the camera and continuing to take pictures and videos knowing I'm not getting paid. That shit doesn't make any sense in my head. I did it for a little bit because A, I wanted to do it, and B, it was fun. And C, I was helping someone else out for a little bit. That's not overextending yourself. Back to the insecurity thing though. If you're insecure, you're going to constantly overextend yourself and people please, and you're going to constantly be burnt out, and you're going to be like, why doesn't anyone love me? Why doesn't anyone see me? No. It's probably because you're not allowing yourself to be seen, or you're not allowing yourself to be heard. And you're constantly putting yourself through that own bullshit, and you literally can't blame anybody else. And I literally had to say this to myself a couple days ago. I had to go, oh my goodness. And I had to just be that bitch. I had to boss up and be that bitch and go, I'm doing this to myself. Most people don't want to admit they're doing something to themselves though, because then it leaves room for actual change. When we can blame someone else, oh, confirmation burp. When we can blame someone else for our actions, we don't have to change. We don't have to put any work in. You know what's behind every change is action and discipline, because it's something you constantly have to be working at. It's like people who, okay, before the comments come from me, I was also overweight. I was an obese motherfucker. Whenever you go from obese to skinny, that is a conscious decision, a choice you decide to make. You decide to stop blaming everything else. You decide to stop blaming it on, oh, that's just my body. You decide to stop blaming it on, oh, it's the food I'm eating or my parents are giving me. You decide to stop blaming it on, oh, but I don't have enough time to work out, and you just fucking do it. You make time for it. You stop making excuses and you do it, and you put discipline in it in order for you to change. I went from 210 and I'm now sitting at a 135. That's a pretty big fucking accomplishment. Okay. That's like 75 pounds, right? That's a pretty big accomplishment. No one else was going to do that for me. And I wasn't going to, hit that achievement or that accomplishment by blaming it on someone else. But I had tried to lose weight before multiple times, and I'd never been able to lose weight. And I never knew why. First of all, I really had to start looking at my diet. The first time I started trying to lose weight, I wasn't looking at my diet. So I wasn't putting in the actual change necessary in order to get the results I want or to become the better person I am. Now I don't have to work out for days and I stay at this weight I am. I literally have went months without working out, and my weight maybe fluctuated 5-10 pounds. And so it's like, and then the change that you put in is automatically going to be implemented into your daily life. This is the same thing for insecurities. So whenever you go back to these traumas that lead you to whatever insecurity it is that you have that makes you so insecure that, you know, you hope to see other people fail or whatever. I hate when people text me. I don't actually hate when people text me though. I just hate when it's... So when you put action and discipline into these traumas, obviously they're going to alleviate, but when you put action and discipline into some of these insecurities, because a lot of times, like, no offense, all of our insecurities are related to trauma. I already said that, but also a lot of our projections are also related to trauma anyways too. So it's like, why not just work on your traumas so you stop being a projecting insecure bitch? It's that simple. Like, there is no, you know, we don't like, one of them that I like to think of as like a projection and an insecurity, right? As I'm a burper, right? I burp out loud. I let everyone know my burp. That's a normal humanly bodily function. Someone else is gonna go, that's classless. Do you know what someone else told them though whenever they burped as a child? That it was classless. And so they stopped doing that stuff. I don't do it in front of everyone. I do it every once in a while, and mostly when I'm feeling it. If you're upset with me for fully embracing my body and allowing it to just be and not saying excuse me for a normal bodily function like you were trained to do, and then you continue to train yourself, and now you're trying to train me. Don't train me. That is something I love to tell people, is that the more you try to control me, the more havoc would just wreak on your life naturally, because I won't have to lift a finger to stress you the fuck out. It would just naturally start happening. I was also supposed to be doing my makeup this whole video, but I get to yapping and I get to talking and I just don't know what to do with myself. But that applies for like everything. Insecurities will literally ruin your life. Confirmation. Insecurities will literally ruin your life. You could go, oh, I look fat in this dress. You probably do at that point. You know why you probably look fat in that dress? Because you thought you looked fat in that dress. Not because anyone else thought you looked fat in that dress, but because you already have that opinion about yourself. No one else can make change the opinions that you've already made about yourself too. If you go outside that day and you go, oh, I feel so ugly, you're going to feel ugly probably for the rest of the day, and no one else can change that. Those are all internal insecurities that you have. It's like that friend, everyone has that friend who's constantly like putting themselves down. And it's just like, bitch, have a good day. Have one good fucking day. Like, please have one good fucking day. And then it's like, after a while, for anyone who has like a strong-willed mindset, you notice that they just attract that badass behavior and those horrible ass days. And not because they actually want to have a horrible day, but because they're so used to having a horrible day, because they've trained themselves to have a horrible day, that they just naturally have horrible days. And then you just notice that you don't want to be around that person, because they're always going to be in a bad mood. They're always going to have a bad day. It's like those people who are constantly, I hate to bring this up too, but people who are constantly masking are constantly exhausted and burnt out and tired and feel blocked in different ways. Why? Because you're not being authentic. You're not being yourself. Obviously, you're not going to feel the fucking best all the fucking time or be able to do something that's authentic to you when you're constantly faking who you are. It just doesn't make any sense. So yeah, stop being fucking insecure and go do better for yourself. No, it's not that simple. And I know it's not that simple, but having someone be rock hard honest with you rather than lying to you like everyone else fucking will helps start that process. Maybe you watch this video and you're like, maybe I am insecure, you know? And if you are a people pleaser, you are. So if you clicked on this video, you probably are insecure and you just don't want to admit it because you want to call it some other title like people pleasing or overextending yourself, when in actuality, you just don't give a fuck about yourself and it shows to everybody else. And then you get mad when someone else doesn't give a fuck about you. But why would you get mad for someone else not giving a fuck about you when you don't even give a fuck about you? Why should I? Genuinely, that's like a genuine question. Maybe we should start answering. Why should anyone else care about you if you don't even care about yourself? It literally doesn't make any sense. And someone's gonna go, yeah, but mental health, yeah, but this, yeah, but that. Yeah, but no one else can save you. No one else is coming to save you. No one else will ever want to save you. Save yourself. We're adults. We can, Hades wants to get in the conversation. We're adults. Like, we can save ourselves now. We can help ourselves. We can harmonize with ourselves. We can find balance with ourselves. Why are you looking externally to find anything that you can find right where you're at? It doesn't make any sense. Tell him. It doesn't make any sense. As a person, you have to like give a fuck about yourself and like actually give a fuck about yourself more than what you were taught. Because if you go for what you were taught, we're born in a society that is supposed to constantly remind you that you are less than what you actually are. We put celebrities on a pedestal. They're the perfect people. Motherfucker, I don't know any perfect person that's doing what Diddy was doing. I don't know one perfect person who is doing what Diddy was doing. But we still want to hold these celebrities to, this is the standard. They're not the standard. They're the bare fucking minimum a lot of times. Everyone should be celebrated. Everyone should be enjoyed, but we don't do that. And so we teach people that you are less than when it comes to celebrities, when it comes to authority figures, when it comes to bosses, when it comes to this, that, yap, 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 and the third. It's like, no. And the moment you start raising your self-worth, you start receiving what you didn't think your self-worth was. The moment I started seeing my self-worth for what it was, bitch, I don't pay for Ubers, I don't pay for food, and when I do, it's because I choose to do it. There's times that I don't even, like, when I go out, right? When I go out and I have fun with my girls at the club or whatever, I don't know exactly how I'm gonna get there or how I'm gonna get my drinks paid for, but I don't pay for drinks and I always get there and get home. I know I deserve that, so I expect it. Like that's what my worth is. I know there's someone out there. And it's not always like me using someone for money. A lot of times I'm invited into sections by someone else. You know, a lot of times I have a fucking promoter who's like, oh, I'll drive you. It's just things work out for me. That's it. Just stop being insecure. That's all I ask from you. Just stop being insecure. Mwah.